Near mint condition, the home of collected editions. Oh my gosh, look at that panel of Batman. You have the absolute, you have the deluxe. DC Comics firing on all cylinders. I am the Knight. Obviously, this is Batman. Look at how big that title is. Batman, black and white. Today on Near Mint Condition, I, the Uncanny Omar, am going to give you my overview of the Batman Black and White Compendium from DC Comics. So let's go ahead and get started. And welcome back, everybody. So what we are looking at here is the latest compendiums from DC Comics, and that is the Batman Black and White Compendium. Yes, I mentioned the logo, just how big it is, and you have this image by Lee Weeks. Black and White Compendium. I love that. I don't know, it just stands out. Let's look at the spine over here. Batman Black and White, and this amazing image with the DC Bullet logo. And then a taste of what is inside, and that is looking at the different creators. Some of these you probably immediately recognize, and it is done in alphabetical order from Neal Adams all the way to J.H. Williams III. We have the ISBN down there, and the retail price of this book is $59.99. Now, there was a hardcover of this release. There's been a box set. And on the left-hand side is the Omnibus edition. This is the one that came out in 2019. Of course, it is bigger than your compendiums, and from the size of it, even though they are using different paper stock, it seems like this is just as thick. But why is that? Well, that is because this Batman Omnibus is 800 pages. Let's look at the back. And the crazy part is that every time there's a new release, so this is 800 pages. There is a box set that I don't own, and the pages of the box set equal up to be about 1,280 pages. This new compendium has a total of 1,256 pages. So I bet what it doesn't have, I kind of wish I had the... It's the only problem with compendiums. The box set is that it probably doesn't have the extras that the box set did. This probably just has the stories. But it has 450 plus pages more than the Omnibus. That is just crazy. My gosh. So we are going to open this up and talk about the type of stories found in here. I have already done an overview of the Omnibus, but today we are focusing on this compendium. So let's take a look at this together. Okay, Batman Black and White Compendium. Wow, love that title page. Lee Weeks, collection cover artist. Batman created by Bill Finger with Bob Kane. And then we get the people behind the book here, the editors, and the table of contents. One interesting thing to note in this collection is that the actual forward that was in the Omnibus is not until the afterwards. I think they actually call it an afterword in this. This is a lot of creators, by the way. And let's see. Afterword by Mark Chiarello. And there are page numbers, so rest assured. So what is collected in here, because this seems like a lot of stories, and what exactly is this about? This is collecting Batman Black and White from 1996, the 4-issue miniseries, stories from Batman Gotham Knights 1 through 49, that's the backup stories, Batman Black and White from 2013, 1 through 6, and Batman Black and White 2021, 1 through 6. The book has 1,256 pages and retails for $59.99. And this is an anthology series. That's all this is. And I'll go ahead and tell you what's not collected in here is the 2021 issues 1 through 6. That's what's not collected in the Omnibus, but it is collected in here, and it's also collected in the box set. And it's an anthology series where each issue has different creators, and each creator brings in their own style and their own story. And if you're thinking, when does this take place? Where do you put this on your shelf? I really just kind of put it with the Arkham Omnibus. That's where I put my Omnibus, because the stories can be taken at any time. They can be read at any time. They're not in continuity, really. Like, this is a Bruce Timm story. There are some that are very surreal, and it feels like it could belong in an alternate Elseworld type of story, like this one here by Joe Kubert. Just amazing artwork, but it's a very trippy take on Batman that doesn't really feel like it's in continuity. It's its kind of own thing. It's just a few pages. And this is Howard Chaykin. You can tell who some of these artists are. And this isn't collected in alphabetical order. These are collected in issue order, I think, because this is the way the Omnibus is collected. So, for example, the first issue had these 5 stories: Perpetual Mourning, Two of a Kind, A Hunt, Petty Crimes, and The Devil's Trumpet. And sadly, some of these creators are no longer with us. And it's sad to see how many have gone since the Omnibus has come out, because I think the Omnibus came out in 2018 or so. The Devil's Trumpet is written by Archie Goodwin, and artwork here is by Jose Antonio Munoz, and it's about a jazz musician and how he's searching for this legendary trumpet. That's what that is. And then we have this wonderful Walter Simonson artwork in here. This is the story. What is this one called? Legend, I think. And so on. So it's an anthology series done by... Oh, that is Richard Corbin. I don't remember who the writer is. Sometimes the credits are at the very beginning of the story. Sometimes the credits are at the very end of the story. But just in case you want to go back and look at whose work you're currently looking at, just look at the page number and go back to the table of contents. This is the Devil's Children story. Chuck Dixon, who's no stranger to Batman, and Jorge Safino working together on this book right here, where Batman investigates pretty much a bunch of gang members that are getting killed. And this is Black Man. And this one here is Black and White World. This one is... Actually, Simon Beasley did this one. I think it's written by Neil Gaiman, if I'm not mistaken. Like I said, sometimes the credits are in the front, and sometimes after the issue. And I think that might be one of the biggest complaints that I had with this collection, that you don't know when to stop reading unless you are really familiar with the artist. You know, you can definitely tell the different art styles, but some people can't. It's in black and white, and some people are very new to the story, so you never really know when to stop reading if the actual title or the credits are not at the very beginning of the story. Sometimes they're at the end of the story. But, I mean, that is really a small gripe. I don't mind this, but I can kind of see people complaining about this, that there are no covers until you get to the very end. So at the very end is where you're going to see some of the covers, and you have some phenomenal, legendary creators here. Let's go back to this one, because I have to point out the Batman black and white story here with, of course, Tim Sale's art. But it is written by Kelly Puckett. This one is called The Night After Night. And I am just blown away, even in black and white, how phenomenal Tim Sale's art is. It's just awesome. And let's just keep going through here. So different artists from different eras. You have John Byrne writing the story and drawing it. And you'll have different Robins, again, because they're taking place in different times. And let me just get to another one of these issues here at the very beginning. As I'm flipping through here, you can get a sense of what the art looks like. For example, this is Eduardo Rizzo right here, who loves signing his name. Not just at the end of the issue, but like anytime there's like a badass splash page. So this is Batman Black and White. This is the very beginning of the story right here. So I guess the credits are at the very end. And this one is called... What is... Hold on a second. Did I miss it? Sometimes the title... Let's see. Batman Black and White. There's no way I missed the title, didn't I? I see the credits at the end, but I didn't see the title. It's just end. Written by Brian Azzarello, Eduardo Rizzo on artwork. And this is Blackout, so this is the next story. Interesting that this one doesn't have a title. And I think these were printed originally in the Gotham Knights. So these were backup stories in Gotham Knights, the ongoing series. This stuff in here has been previously collected again in the omnibus format. It's not until you get to the 2021 series that the stuff has not been collected in omnibus format. Some of these have been reprinted with color in certain omnis. Or in certain, I think it was an Absolute Edition, the Brian Boland, the Killing Joke omnibus reprinted just two of the backup stories, or black and white stories in here. Some of the art is surreal, some of it looks realistic, some of them hyper-realistic and hyper-surreal. And creators in here from just Ed Brubaker and Tim Sale, Bruce Timm. This looks like Will Spertasio. Jim Lee did a cover, I remember. Let's see. Yeah, Judd Winnick. And taking places at different times or in different universes of Batman. I think in my overview of the omnibus, I call this type of collection... Actually, let's go back to this one here. This is Chip Kidd working with Michael Cho. They worked together on so many books. This is the beginning of the 2013 series. So I think this is from issue number 1. But anyway, what I like to call these type of collections are palette cleansers. Neal Adams, late Neal Adams, working on a Batman zombie story. Yeah, Batman, the Cape Crusader, has turned into a talking zombie. But I like to call him a palette cleanser because all you need to do is just read these few pages and then go back to your regularly scheduled reading that you're doing. Sean Gordon Murphy here. Yeah, just read a few pages and then move back to whatever heavy reading you're doing. I love anthologies like this. That's why I really, really like this book. And the question that I'm sure I'm going to be getting from people, if you don't have the omnibus, 100% get the compendium. I'll look at the spine here in a little bit because I'm sure people want to see. Because to me, it is well worth it for the extra stories. Plus, it's cheaper, and the omnibus is out of print. Will they ever reprint the omnibus with the extra stories? Sure, one day, but as of right now, it's officially out of print. Raphael Grandpa, man. He has this style that is just so badass. I love the way he draws Batman. You can always tell it's him. This is Raphael Albuquerque. Jeff Lemire with Alex Nino over here. But yeah, is this worth it if you're a Batman fan? Absolutely 100%. If you know someone that's a Batman comics fan, and if you know someone that's a Batman fan and has never read the comic, this is a great taste of what's out there. A lot of these creators worked on Batman and they have several runs of their stories collected in omnibus format or big thick trade paperbacks. Damian Scott. Oh man, I actually really enjoyed this era of his art. I think he got a little too animated for me later on, believe it or not. He got some more animated than this, but that Batgirl era, it was just killer. And you're going to see a freaking phenomenal just rogue gallery representation throughout all of these stories. And again, some of them taking place in the past, some of them Silver Age, Bronze Age, Golden Age, and future, and then possible future, possible alternate realities. It's just a hodgepodge of just different eras of Batman. And I would just, if you're doing some heavy reading, just read one or two stories and then go back to your heavy reading and keep that bookmark though. This is a Jimmy Palmiotti and Andrew Robinson story. This is Hope. And this was collected in the Omnibus edition. And Adam Hughes over here working in black and white. A lot of these creators that you're going to be seeing through here, Andy Kubert, you're probably used to seeing working in color. So it's really unique and compelling to see them just work in black and white and their limitations and just how great the artists are. And I mean, true sequential art. Some of them cheat a little bit. I'm not going to go through all of the ones that have a little bit of color, but there is a reason why. And that's the thing. This is the phenomenal Kelly Jones. This is definitely for people that like black and white art. Not everyone does. There are some of my viewers that cannot do stories like manga or The Walking Dead or what was it? It was the Sean Gordon Murphy story. the punk rock Jesus, because it was in black and white, people just couldn't do it. And I get it, right? Everybody's different. But to me, I don't know. There's just something extra special about art being in black and white. It's raw. It breaks all kinds of barriers that when you add color, it kind of takes it away a little bit, which is probably why I've grown to love the artist editions over the years. You see the mistakes, you see the roughness, and you immediately recognize a lot of the art is through these very pages. This is Lee Weeks, who did the cover for this collection right here. He does a killer Batman too. Kieran Gillen working with Jamie McKelvey. You'll see a lot of collabs through here that have gone on and worked on other things. But I think by now we are in the 2021 issues, if I'm not mistaken. So we're about to hit... Wow, that is gorgeous. There's some in here I haven't read. We're about to hit the extras. So let's look at the extras in the back. I said that there are no covers in between issues, which, like I mentioned, could be a problem for some people. And others, they don't care. They want to read the whole thing as it's one big book, because this is an anthology series. So rest assured, the covers are in the back. Some of them cheat a little bit because it's Batman black and white. There's that Magnolia piece, which they used, of course, for the spine of the book. Beautiful piece here by Silvestri. They do credit the artist over here and where the art originated from. Most of these are the covers, of course. And there are variant covers, so I'm not going to go through all of them. And my gosh, man, that's so killer. Alex Ross, we've seen that in color as well. Capullo, Peach Momoko, and Tony Danielle. And let's actually, that's Simone Bianchi. I'm so used to seeing Simone Bianchi's pieces in color. And there's that Lee Weeks. Patrick, I think that's Patrick Gleason. John Romita Jr. And then your afterword. The afterword is wonderful. It's the same thing as the forward in the Omnibus edition. But it's just talking about how Mark Chiarello, and ads over here for other Batman stories. They want to show you all how they use some colors through here. Just how this all came about. It's practically the brainchild of Mark, and how years ago, before even the first collection came out, or the first issue came out, in, when was that, 90s, I think? The original series was in 1996. How he was just sitting around with a bunch of creators, and they were all talking about desert island type of stories, like what would you take to a desert island, and a lot of them agreed that it would be Creepy or Eerie magazine, because it's an anthology series with phenomenal creators working on really quick stories you can read. So he, years later, when he started working for DC, they actually got to put this together, and man, it was like everybody wanted to jump in and start writing these stories and wanted just a small piece of their writing or their talent on Batman. And kicks off with that Ted McKeever story, moves on to the Bruce Timm story, and then, of course, taking us all the way into 2021, which is crazy. That stuff has not been collected in the Omnibus format, and ends with the Scott Snyder and that John Romita Jr. storyline. What was it called? 1,000 Words, I think? But this gives you a small idea as to what this is. It's not the very first Batman compendium. We've had Batman 66, and I'll do a quick little comparison here in a second. But first, let's talk about the elephant in the room. The spine. This is a soft cover, and it is also glued binding. So how does it hold up? Because while I haven't read it cover to cover, I've read a lot of the stories in here. There is, I don't think it's showing up. Maybe it is. Not sure if you can see. There's already a crease in mine. But again, look, books are meant to be read. And I know this is a $60 book. But to me, I have to give it a true test. So I did read it like this. I had it down like this when I was reading it. My daughter, who loves books and tries to take care of them, I have seen her read books like this, where she has to hold it down a little bit to see the actual font or the captions beside the gutter, because she doesn't want to crease her spines and her soft covers. And I think I finally broke her from that. But everybody's different, right? If you're paying $60 for a book, that's retail price, by the way, then it is up to you. These books are meant to be read. So I don't mind that mine has a badge of honor right there that I was reading them. Now, to do a quick little comparison to the Omnibus that came out in 2018. So we already know they use different paper stock, of course, for Omnis. Let's go back to the first story. Man, they added so many. This is printed in really thick paper stock over here. It's glossy paper stock. Whereas the compendium is printed in this thinner glossy paper stock. So it is glossy paper stock, but it's nowhere near as thick as this over here, the Omnibus. Immediately something that I notice is kind of a yellowish tone to the paper over here, whereas over here it legit is black and white. And that could be, you know, the paper stock, of course, the absorption of the blacks and the contrast. Just to kind of give you an idea. And I don't even know if that comes across on camera or not. But I could definitely tell. It just has like a yellow, like a small hint of yellow to it. And since this is black and white, there is just a little bit of bleed through happening from the opposite side. Sometimes you can see the font, or sometimes you can see the picture coming from the opposite side. Let's get to this Joe Kubert art here. Yeah, man, that is killer. But yeah, just minimal, and I mean very minimal bleed through happening compared to over here. And you can see the contrast over here with the black and white compared to this. This almost looks like a little bit faded out. Whereas this looks closer to this over here. But that is it. That's what Batman Black and White Compendium is. And that, as they say, is that. If you're interested in purchasing this compendium, don't forget to check out our sponsors. CheapGraphicNovels.com, your online home for graphic novels and collected editions up to 50% off cover price. They have excellent shipping and prompt and helpful service. Check out their bargain deals for up to 90% off cover price. And don't forget, the CGN also takes pre-orders. That way you don't miss out on the hottest releases. And they are currently running a special promotion for you Minties. If you're a first-time customer, after receiving your order confirmation email, reply back to that email and let them know Near Mint Condition sent you their way. They will then apply a free shipping promotional credit to your next order in the US. Cheap Graphic Novels, your source for the hottest books with the kind of deep discount, quality shipping, and customer service that will keep you coming back for more. And that was the content, the page count, and build of this compendium. And of course, a quick little comparison to the Omnibus. In the comments down below, let me know if you are picking this up, that you didn't even know it was coming out. I know they have a box set. I know they have an Omnibus, but in case you didn't even know what Batman Black and White was, let me know if you picked it up. If you have any questions, leave the questions down below. Smash that like button on the way out. Everyone stay healthy and safe out there. Much love.